All right, what's going on, guys? Graham G. Mathers here with Bleacher Report and FanSided Daily DDT. And ahead of Raw this coming Monday for the Raw Women's Championship, Liv Morgan, Becky Lynch. Today we're talking to the number one contender, Liv herself. Liv, how's it going?
So good. How's it going for you?
Doing great. Someone actually brought it to my attention the other day that this Monday on Raw, and I might be wrong, but I think this Monday with this match with Becky is going to mark, I think, the 17-year anniversary of the Trish and Lita main event on Raw, which is crazy.
It's so crazy. It's so weird how, that just aligned together. I'm really hoping we get to be the main event too. But it just gives me extra motivation that I didn't even need for this match.
It's wild, too, and I think they actually just talked about that on an episode of Ruthless Aggression, like, the other day, like a week ago. They put up a new episode about it, all about that women's main event. Obviously, WWE's talked about it a lot before, but how are you feeling going to this match on Monday? We're speaking on Thursday right now.
Woo. I'm feeling good, I've just been taking every day and trying to prepare in different ways for this match. I had a training session with Natty already this week, and I have a wrestling ring in my backyard now, so I'm just going to be kind of just laying low for the week and just trying to mentally and physically prepare for this match.
That's awesome. How long have you had a ring in your backyard?
I've had it for a couple months, and it just hasn't been put together, but it's finally put together this week, so just this week.
Nice. That's fantastic. Well, that's obviously got to give you an advantage, but in the last, year and a half, especially with the pandemic being closer, like to Orlando, just with the shows being filmed out of the Performance Center and whatever, how have you really seen, I feel like this, pandemic period for a lot of people has been very helpful as far as like, in the ring, working on promos and in ring work and stuff like that. And you yourself have gotten a great opportunity over the last 18 months to show a lot of improvement on a lot of various fronts, on the mic and the ring, stuff like that. How have you seen yourself, like your development really come a long way in the last 18 months since this whole period kind of started?
I don't know that the pandemic necessarily had anything to do with it, because a lot of places are closed. We were kind of all secluded to our homes, but I just know that just regardless, I try to always just better myself in every aspect, in this business. You'll never know it all. There's so much knowledge, there's so many things to learn, but I strive to know as much as I can. So I just try to take every day as an opportunity to just learn something else, So luckily, there's been progress made, and hopefully progress just keeps coming.
And you mentioned Natty before as someone that you're working with as far as, training ahead of this match on Monday. Is there anyone else that you're specifically working with, getting kind of advice from? Obviously, Ruby's, an obvious choice as well, and Sarah too. But beyond them, anyone else that you're really, like, closely working with, or is it just the variety of people?
Just, I guess those would be it, I've kind of just kept to myself. Not that I don't want opinions, but I feel like I know what I think and I know what I believe, and I don't really want anyone else to sway that, regardless whether it was Becky or not. I was coming for that WWE Raw Women's Championship, but it just so happened to be Becky, and, I would have loved a friendly competition, but Becky has obviously decided to make it personal from the get-go, whether it was mentioning my friends or how I'm a failure or how, I don't have big moments, whatever Becky has wanted to say about me. Now the situation has a completely different energy.
Yeah, and it's going to be a big match going into Monday with that, personal layer to it, like you mentioned, and you showed the video of her on Monday's Raw, and we'll get into that in a little bit. But, just in general, the last couple of months for you have been crazy, being a part of the Raw brand, now the number one contender to the Raw Women's Championship. Just talk a little bit about how crazy the last couple of months have been for you, breaking out on your own, being on SmackDown, coming over to Raw, and now getting the single spotlight for an extended period of time for the first time in your career.
It's been insane. I've just been really grateful, and I've been trying to enjoy it in the moment, but it's a lot of pressure, so it's a little bit hard to enjoy. I'm having fun, but I want to be my best, and I want to succeed, and I want to prove myself right, in this situation.
Did you feel a little bit more pressure after the release of that documentary that they did on you? Obviously I know that was like the timing of it was weird because it was supposed to kind of coincide with like this more meaningful, period for you on SmackDown a few years ago. And then they just kind of put it out just randomly a couple of months ago on the network or on Peacock or whatever it was at that point. And I feel like they put a lot more eyes on you as far as what people can expect from you. Obviously the Watch Live thing and stuff like that. I feel like that was a big, I don't want to say turning point, but that's really helped your momentum a lot in the last year.
Oh, totally. It was such an unexpected blessing, It was only supposed to be a little package of, you know, how do you feel being drafted to SmackDown by yourself, and it turned into a year-long documentary that we did every single week. And it just gave fans, you know, just a super personal look into my life and my thoughts and what my situation was, which is so different than it is now. Like you said, you know, I am the number one contender, and I feel like I owe my fans so much for that. I feel like I wouldn't be in this position if it wasn't for them.
Yeah, and just kind of going off of that too, you have such a passionate fan base. And I mean, you specifically too, as someone who, I mean, really up until recently, you weren't really on TV all that consistently just before moving to Raw. But despite that, every time you come out, like I'm thinking, I had a friend that was at the Raw in, I think it was Providence about a month ago. You had a match with Tamina on Main Event that was actually very good. And he had said,
that was so amazing.
yeah, it was a really good match, and that was right before you became the number one contender, and he was in the building for it, and he said the place went, I mean, this is a Main Event taping before Raw, and the place went crazy for you. Like, that was one of the loudest Main Event matches I've heard in a while, so talk a little bit about that and the connection you have with the audience. It feels like it's like no one else is on the roster.
I don't, you know, it just feels so authentic. It just feels so authentic. Every time I walk out, even though I don't see a lot like familiar faces, you know, we're in new cities every single week. I feel like I kind of know these people, you know, and they know me. It's just, I don't know. They've been such a blessing, and I don't know what I did. I don't know what I did to deserve them, but I'm so grateful for them. I really am. They were so incredible that night in the Main Event match, and that was actually the night where I first confronted Becky. Just stared at her.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, so it was a great night. I had a crazy progression in like 3 hours.
And that was just a month ago as we speak right now, which again is nuts. And you got the title match coming up on Monday. It's crazy. You talked about the pressure a little bit before, and I wanted to ask, like, obviously you're feeling this pressure, and it can be tough to deal with the times and stuff like that. You want the Main Event next week. Does part of you, are you saying to yourself, like, is it like almost beneficial if you don't have the Main Event because you don't, like, the pressure can be too much? Or, I mean, obviously you want to be in the Main Event. I feel like it's a little bit of both.
Yeah, you know, I did talk about pressure, but also I didn't mention that I completely thrive under pressure. That is when I'm at my best. So I would love the Main Event. You know, I would love to take mine and Becky's personal high-stakes match and match it with, you know, the historic match that happened 17 years ago that I watched live, you know, sitting on my bed. And I would love to kind of not recreate it, but just the symbolism is, it means a lot to me. And I would love to have the Main Event spot. I'd love to, you know, just tear the house down with Becky, but also win that championship. And I'd love to do it for my fans. I feel like I owe them. I owe them that.
Yeah, and a lot of people are looking forward to that match just to see you get your moment. And I mean, it's been a crazy last couple of weeks as far as this feud with Becky goes, and seeing you on TV more, the mic time you guys have gotten with the promos and the matches, and you had Team Liv versus Team Bex on Monday on Raw. I mean, just 2 months ago, you were part of the SmackDown brand, and I've spoken to Kevin before, and he mentioned how every single draft here, you guys always, every single draft, you guys not only get drafted, but you always end up on the same show. He brought that up a year ago when we did an interview, and it was the same thing this year too. It's crazy.
Yeah, it's unreal. Since like, you know, almost since 6 years, it's just been it's been so consistent. It's a little bit bizarre.
Yeah, it is bizarre. I mean, and kind of going off of that too, I mean, at this point, do you like, come draft time, is it like, all right, I'm gonna end up on the opposite show? Like, it's not even a question at this point.
Oh,
like,
yeah,
are you just,
I kind of expect this year I knew I was going to Raw. I was like, I've been drafted every year. I was like, I'm going.
Are you partial to
so
bunch of
Raw's been so Raw has been so gracious to me. I've really enjoyed my time on Raw. I feel like I'm doing a lot of new things. Getting to show different sides of myself. Raw has been such a blessing.
Yeah, I mean, kind of going off of that, it's sorry to interrupt, but like you mentioned, you know, going back and forth between the two, like, do you feel, is there any sense of worry going from one brand to the other and not, like, maybe that momentum may not translate over? Because over on SmackDown, you had the thing with Sonya for a while, then feuding with Carmella before coming to Raw. Again, you're expecting it, but is it like, am I going to have this same momentum, I guess might be the right word, going over to the other show, or is there no worry of that at all? You just kind of have to take it day by day.
You kind of just have to take it day by day, you know, because when you worry about things that are kind of out of your control, it's such an energy drainer. You know, I really kind of I try to at least just worry about things that I can directly control. Like, okay, if I do go to this new show, am I going to, you know, do my best? Absolutely. Am I going to try my hardest? Absolutely. Am I going to keep training? Absolutely. Just the things that I have a hand in is what I really try to focus on worrying about. So I just think about, just keep trying to kill it, you know, no matter what show I'm on, just keep on proving myself.
Yeah, that's the best way to go about it. I mean, we got to see a little bit of that on Monday's Raw when you guys had the contract signing before the 10-woman tag team match, which was great. And it's cool, too, because we got to see you on the mic a little bit on Monday. But I feel like some of the best work that we've seen from you on the mic hasn't been even on TV. I mean, Monday was an obvious example, but if people watch the YouTube stuff or on Raw Talk and stuff like that, we get to hear a lot more from you on those shows as well. Has there been any one inspiration, I don't know if that's the right word, or like influence that's helped you with the speaking part of things, or is that you just kind of doing it over and over and just getting better at it?
Just, you know, I've always liked promos, you know. I mean, well, when I first started at NXT, I had never performed ever in my life, you know. I didn't public speak, so it was definitely a new thing. It was definitely nerve-wracking, but as I stepped into kind of my character and groove, I developed my own formula, you know, kind of how to write my promos and do my promos, how I like to perform them. And I was really comfortable with them. But then I got moved to SmackDown and then Raw, and I was part of a girl group, you know, Riot Squad, my sisters. And well, I didn't do promos so much, you know, so I kind of went a long time without getting that actual showtime, here we go feeling that you kind of need, because you can practice, you know, at home in the mirror, which I do that as well. But there's nothing like, you know, you need the energy. You need the energy to see how you're really going to perform, I feel like.
Yeah, and I thought, so, you know, yeah, sorry, go ahead.
No, that was it. It's just been really cool to kind of step back into that.
Yeah, and it's been, especially in the last couple of weeks on Raw, again, not to repeat myself, but going to this match with Becky on Monday, like, it hasn't just been, all right, you became the number one contender, here's the title match. Like, we've actually gotten to hear from you quite a bit. And we heard from you quite a bit on Raw this week, and I thought it was such a great segment, setting the stage for Monday, getting people hyped up and stuff like that. Obviously, one of the takeaways coming from that segment was, you know, you mentioned the Becky contract and the releases line, whatever. Some people had some issue with that. Did you see any of the backlash at that at all? Any reaction to that?
Yeah, I saw, you know, online, you know, I don't really go through everything that, you know, it's tweeted to me or said, but it was just a very apparent online. So I saw it, and I feel like I have to, everyone is allowed to feel the way that they want to feel. Everyone wants to react. I said what I said, I guess, and I had not one intention to offend anyone, you know, and all I do know is that my friends that I were talking about, they talk to me afterwards and say how awesome they thought it was and how proud they were of me, you know. So yeah, it was just one of those things that I guess got a little controversial. It's a sensitive topic, but it's also the reality of, you know, things that we're all going through right now.
Yeah, and it got people talking, and again, it gets more people talking about the match coming up on Monday with the Raw Women's Championship, and kind of talking about them for a minute. My friend actually talked to Ruby a couple of months ago about something else, and she had mentioned in that interview that you guys all have farms now, which is just amazing.
So funny.
Can you talk a little bit about that and the farm life you currently live, I guess?
Yeah, farm life has been great. Right now, I have 8 cows and 19 chickens. I have a pig. I have 2 cats, 2 dogs. So it's pretty busy here, but it's really peaceful. And it gives me such a contrast from the road life.
That's awesome.
I think Sarah had a farm first, and then I think it was me, and then Ruby, you know. She has horses. She takes care of horses. And it's just... It kind of feels off the grid a little bit, you know?
Yeah.
I feel like I get so much stimulation when I'm traveling and when I'm at work, and then when I come home, it's just very quiet and secluded. And I just get this peaceful presence of all these pure animals around me.
That's funny. My girlfriend has like 17 animals and doesn't have a farm, but she has like 6 dogs and cows and sheep, so I could totally relate to that. I've seen it before.
Oh my gosh.
It's
sheep.
wild.
You want sheep?
sheep?
And want goats, yeah.
That's great. As we wind down here, Liv, I had to ask as well. I know you're a big Chucky fan. We've had the show on USA airing after NXT. I've been watching it after NXT for the last 2 months now. I haven't seen the season finale. It aired the other day, but have you been keeping up with the show? And if so, what have your thoughts been on it, Ben?
Yeah, I loved it. I feel like they touch on a lot of, themselves, a lot of sensitive topics, and a lot of current themes. Mm-hmm. And so I've been really enjoying it. And you get like classics that you love, like his humor, and he's so iconic. So I've been really enjoying it. And I did watch the finale, and I'm not going to spoil anything for you, but they definitely leave it to where, there's going to be a season 2, and kind of leave it open-ended, so you more already and not have to wait. So I'm excited for season 2.
Perfect.
Well, I love Jennifer Tilly.
Yeah, I know she's in. Yeah, no, she's been great in the show as well. I'm looking forward to that second season. I know it was already renewed, so I know what I'm expecting going to the season finale.
No, yeah. I can't believe it.
I'm looking forward to it. But yeah, I'll be watching that a little bit. But Liv, this has been great. People can check you out this Monday on Raw, USA Network, you and Becky Lynch for the Raw Women's Championship. Almost exactly 4 years removed from when you arrived on SmackDown, part of the main roster with the Riot Squad. And one of the first people you attacked backstage was Becky Lynch. So I feel like this is going full circle.
Oh, it's definitely a full circle in so many different ways. And I couldn't be more excited, and I couldn't feel, honestly, more ready to just take this head on.
Fantastic. And everyone else is excited as well. Liv, thanks so much for the time. I appreciate it.
Thank you so much. I hope you have a great day.
Thanks, Liv. You too. Take care.